Hey everyone, and welcome to another video by Imagi Fantasy Football. Today we're going to be going over a 2021 running back tier list. We're just going to organize all the running backs you see on the screen into the tiers you see on the left there. So I'm just going to be calling out one of the guys at random. I'm going to be choosing a running back and just going to ask them opinion about it. And if anybody has any objections, we're just going to speak up and it's going to be like an argument/discussion. So without further ado, let's get started. So first we have Aaron Jones, and I'll give that to Nav.
Think he's got running back one potential. I don't think he's a star running back one, especially with Aaron Rodgers gone. I could definitely see how he is a star, but I think like for right now at this stage of the offseason, he has an RB1 potential.
Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
All right. Now we have Alvin Kamara going to Dant.
I'm gonna say star RB1. Even with no Drew Brees there, I think the talent and the fact that he's the center of that offense, he'll still be the same.
I could see him being just like bumping down a tier though, because last year with Taysom Hill was the starter. He had a game with 0 receptions. So, he might be less involved this year. He's gonna have less touchdowns, obviously. Maybe he bumps down a tier, but I think right now he's a star.
All right. Now going to Austin Eckler with Han.
Yeah. So for me, I put Eckler. I don't like Eckler, but it's hard to ignore what the Chargers did reshaping their O line. So I definitely put him RB1 potential. I think he's just going to demand so many touches that he's just bound to be a top 10 RB.
All right. Everybody agree with that one?
Yeah.
All right. Now Cam Akers going to John.
Akers, he's definitely going to be the tier of RB1 potential. With everything the Rams have done this offseason, adding Matthew Stafford, getting rid of Malcolm Brown. There's really just no competition for Akers in that backfield anymore. We saw what he did at the end of last year when he was given the full workload. I think he's going to be great this year. He's definitely RB1 potential. Even maybe by the end of the year, he moves up to star RB1, but for now, definitely an RB1 potential tier.
I'd honestly put Akers. I would maybe drop him I think he's also RB1 potential right now, but maybe could be dropped to another tier RB2 just because with Stafford coming in, I feel like the Rams, even though they were run heavy, I think they're going to try to pass more, which could affect Akers. But yeah, I'd keep him at RB1 potential right now, though.
I actually agree with that. I'm not a big fan of Akers personally, especially because I'm kind of uncertain about Darrell Henderson there and his workload. He did good for a couple of games there, and I don't like that. I don't like Darrell Henderson over there. So, and like Han said with Stafford and everything, so I'd move him down to RB2, but you can't argue with RB1 at this point.
Yep.
So now Chris Carson, we're going Nav.
Well, you.
Oh yeah, I can just go. I'd move him. I'm moving to RB2. He hasn't proved himself to be an RB1. He's not consistent enough. He's decent though. Gets the touchdowns, and Seahawks might be more run heavy this season. So Christian, yeah.
Okay.
Christian
I was just saying
McCaffrey.
He might have RB1 potentially, maybe this year, but we don't know this yet. We can't say that.
Yeah, you can't say it yet.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Christian McCaffrey, just move him to the left of Kamara. Just, make sure he's there.
Make sure
nothing else.
This. All right, now we have Dalvin Cook to Dunt.
This is obviously star RB1. There's nothing anyone can say about it.
Ahead of Kamara or behind him?
Ahead.
Yeah.
Easily ahead.
All right, now Rohan, we got David Montgomery.
I'm gonna put RB1 potential. He had a great year last year.
My
No.
God.
He's a great player. He's a great player. He's a great player. We have Tariq Cohen coming back. Damian Williams also was signed. He's gonna do bad, but these guys they're not on his level. He's gonna be an RB1 potential. He's gonna be just around the 11, 12, 10 mark for RBs this year.
Are you kidding me?
He's gonna have another solid year.
RB2.
RB2
Yeah, RB2 for this guy.
For sure.
Nah.
David Montgomery's got to go in RB. We got to overrule him here. David Montgomery's an RB2.
Come on, bro.
David Montgomery last year when he went off. The last 6 weeks of the year, those were against he had phenomenal
those
matchups.
defenses were terrible.
All
Like,
six.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
but this is for him. This is more of what's the term where you just beat up on the bad guys, just raise your confidence. That was what Demont needed. You know, he was having a slow start to his career. You know, even last year, slow start, was getting the workload, but was just not getting the production. But last year, that the run he had last year is just going to shape him up for a great year this year.
If you say so.
All right, we'll
He can
update this
definitely go
list
into
when he
I
plays a
have
good
nothing else
defense.
to say.
All right, now we're going to Derrick Henry. We're going to go with John.
Derrick Henry, he's an obvious star RB1. The guy rushed for over 2,000 yards last year. The Titans now bringing in Julio Jones. That's just going to open up even more running room for Henry. Defenses can't completely stack the box against him anymore. I could see him. He's definitely going to probably take a dip in his rushing yards, but as long as he keeps on getting the volume that he got last year, I think he's going to be phenomenal again this year.
I think. Let me preface by saying,
Oh my!
Derrick Henry is going to be a star RB1 if he's healthy and like all that. He will be a star RB1. Thing is, he's had over 800 touches the last 2 years. I think he is going to be like more prone to injury than anyone else. But he is, he's Derrick Henry.
I completely disagree with
He's a
everything you're
mammoth.
saying.
He's a mammoth.
Nah, he's a beast. Guy's not getting hurt.
But the
It's not
thing
gonna
is,
happen.
if you
You
look,
see in these
cannot get
workout
hurt.
videos?
He
yeah, I know,
cannot
but
get
if you
hurt.
look back through NFL history, any running back that rushed for
He's
over 2,000
nothing
yards,
like
Yeah, he's not like those guys. Yep, he's not
He's
like those guys.
nothing
He's
like
his
that.
own.
Like Emmitt Smith?
He's his own guy. No. He's his own
nothing-
beast. He's his own
Eric
beast.
Dickerson. None. Yeah. Okay.
No,
He's
his
better
own
than
guy.
he's
He's
number
He's his own
one all
beast.
time.
Yeah, own beast.
Better.
Number. All right, let's
You say
relax
so.
here. Let's relax
I don't
here.
know.
a
I
bit.
would put him ahead of Barry Sanders.
No,
That's
no,
a bit
no.
extreme.
Not true.
I won't.
Discussion for another day. Discussion for another day. But
All right,
I agree. Derrick Henry could see a dip in production, but like he's gonna see a dip in carries too. So it's gonna limit. It's not less room
But he
for
doesn't
injury.
have
He's not
any
gonna get that
pass
many
catching
carries.
work either. So if he has lower like rushing yards, it's
He didn't
gonna
have
hurt
pass
his-
catching work the last 3 years.
Yeah, I know, and he's been phenomenal. But I'm just saying, how
Exactly.
long is that sustainable?
I mean, with the way
Forever.
that Henry plays too.
Okay,
Going back to what you were saying about him getting injured, the way Henry plays, he's not a guy who's making a lot of jukes, like twisting his knees into the ground, stuff like that can get you hurt, potentially tear an ACL, hurt your ankles. No, he's going directly at you, just going right into you, jamming his head into you,
And
running
that
through
gives
you.
you
So
less potential of getting hurt.
yeah, from instead of guys like Saquon
From a running
Barkley,
backs,
saw him
yeah.
getting
Yep.
hurt.
He doesn't have that
I don't
high
know.
potential for ligament and
He's going to
just
be a
little
star
things.
RB1 for sure, but there's some risk. There's some risk there.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could say that for a lot of players, though. I feel like just
Okay,
every player
yeah.
could get injured. But just
Yep.
moving on now.
Okay.
All right, we have Frank Gore here. He is one of the greats, but you gotta put him irrelevant. You can't have him on his team. You can't have him on.
He's
your
not on a
teams.
team right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, Frank.
All right, now with with Myles Gaskin.
Myles Gaskin. Honestly, he might be he's going to be very volatile this year. There's two ends of the spectrum. He could either be in like the RB2, RB1 potential, that type of range, or he could be a relevant bench running back. Who knows? They don't have a lot invested in him. But for right now, I'm going to put him in flex. He could definitely have a breakout season this year, but he could also be completely irrelevant for fantasy because the Dolphins have nothing invested in him. And we saw Salvin Ahmed do exactly what he did last year.
And I completely agree. I feel like Gaskin, not a knock on Gaskin more so, but the Dolphins, they're just not a good, they're a good team. Tua is not it. He's not going to score you points. He's not a good quarterback. So what does this mean? The Dolphins are going to be down in games. And when you're down, you can't run the ball. You have to pass it. And, Gaskin did have some passing work last year, but he's just not going to be good this year.
Yeah, they're probably going to be more like a defensive oriented team.
Yep.
And they might try and like run. They might try and pound the rock, but Myles Gaskin is not the guy you try and pound the rock.
Yep.
He's more of a receiving back.
Yep.
Arjun, do you have something to say?
Yeah.
I got a lot to say. I mean,
Okay.
the Dolphins, they didn't draft anyone meaningful. The only meaningful guy they brought in is Malcolm Brown. I mean, Gaskin, if they really didn't think that Gaskin was the guy, they could have signed Mike Davis. They could have drafted ETN or Najee
Mike
Harris.
Davis
No,
is
they didn't.
not. No, you're
They
not.
didn't draft anyone. They didn't bring in anyone meaningful. Clearly, they trust Gaskin. They think that he's going to be their go-to guy this year. I don't see how Gaskin, especially with Tua, he's going to want to dump it off a lot. And even Tua, I expect him to take a sophomore year leap. So, I mean, I just don't see how Gaskin would be.
Where would you put him?
I would put him in RB2, and I don't see how Gaskin. You were saying he's falling to irrelevant. I don't see how that would ever happen.
No, I said
that
that's in his
was-
range of
No,
outcomes.
he
That's
said
in his
bench
range of
or
outcomes.
flex.
No, yeah. That's what I meant. Like even in his range of outcomes, I see where we've got him right now being his floor as a flex.
Yeah.
Four
So
is a-
so would you would obviously move him off John, but I don't think we have enough support here unless Don has
Yeah,
something
yeah.
to say in favor of Gaskin.
No, I think right now he's a flex, but like a few weeks into the season, we'll know. He has potential to be RB2, but nothing more than that.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Now we have Antonio Gibson, and Don here is talking about Gibby.
Star RB1, bro. Come on.
All right. So
Here
if
we
you know Imagi Fantasy Football, you know there's a lot of Antonio Gibson lovers in the group. I think he has RB1 potential, but there's some bias, so he might move to star RB1 after we're done with this, but I'd put him in RB1 potential.
Yeah, RB1
Okay.
potential is where I leave him to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid.
I
I
think
agree
he
with
could
that.
definitely be a star RB1 though. Like
I don't
Absolutely.
know.
right
Yeah.
now he's RB1 potential, but there's
Yeah.
nothing stopping him from becoming star RB1 other than JD McKissick. And it's JD McKissick. Let's relax.
Nah, but it's JD. Yeah. JD's not doing that. He's not
Um,
getting Gibby's way.
Yeah. All right. Now we have Jamal Williams. It looks like. Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I put Jamal. I'm not his biggest fan either because he's trying to put a dent in Swift's carries, which it's not cool. So I put him around. Yeah, he's a bench RB. I mean, there's no more to say about him.
Really?
Can't start him really unless there's an injury. But yeah, bench RB.
I agree with that.
All right. Now we have James Conner with John.
Yeah, same thing with what Rohan was saying about Williams. A lot of it applies to Connor as well. I think he's going to be a bench running back. Signing with the Cardinals now, he's going to be the number 2 there behind Chase Edmonds. He'll still probably get a decent amount of work, but he just won't get enough for him to ever be really a trusted starter unless you're just in desperate need for running back for the week.
Are we sure he's not going to take over the Kenyon Drake role from last year though? Because Kenyon Drake,
I don't think so. I
21
mean,
he had 21 goal line opportunities. If he takes what, like 10, 15 of it, he could be a flex running back type. That's but otherwise,
maybe,
James
but
Conner,
I think
it is James Conner. James Conner has not shown that he's the most talented running
He could get injured.
Okay,
week
he's
one
very
again.
talented.
and
James
he's
Conner.
so injury.
No. James
Connor
Conner
likes
is very
the injury
talented.
train.
No,
He
Connor-
likes getting injured. So
No. I
let's
rebuttal.
not say that. Let's not say that.
I like James
Cancer
Conner.
survivor
He's
though.
very
Respect
talented.
to that. Cancer
respect.
Yeah, facts.
Cancer survivor. All right. Now, I guess it's me with James Robinson, I believe, and with Travis Etienne. Really, he was having a good season last year, and then Travis Etienne. They drafted Travis Etienne. Don't know why, but can't put him. I don't think you'll be able to play him. He's either bench running back or relevant. Depends on how Etienne plays. You can stash him on your bench maybe, but right now he's just irrelevant. I'd say.
Ooh,
I'd have to
I don't-
completely disagree with that. I think
Yeah.
I think flex.
I would put him as a flex. Yeah, and
Flex?
I think he's to open the year at minimum. I think he'd be a flex just to let Etienne until Etienne gets his wheels under him. But I mean,
I think
even
he's
once the season gets going, I wouldn't move him anywhere beyond a bench running back.
Yes, yeah. There's no way he'll be irrelevant. It's either going to be like flex or bench running back. Right now he might be a flex, but I definitely see after week 5, week 6, after Travis Etienne gets everything going, then he's going to move down to bench running back. I don't think he's ever going to move down
Yeah.
to irrelevant though. That's
Yeah,
just
Yeah,
not
definitely
gonna
not.
happen.
He's too talented.
Yep.
All right. Now we have Nav with J.K. Dobbins.
Hey, J.K. Dobbins, I think he fits in with the RB1 potential group, but more close to the end of it. J.K. Dobbins this year, we did a bust video on him, but personally, I think J.K. Dobbins is going to be very solid this year. He had 6 yards per carry last year, and I think the Ravens are the run heaviest team in the NFL. So I like J.K. Dobbins as an RB1 potential type guy.
Yeah, and if you guys go and watch our bus video, you'll see when we do come to J.K. Dobbins, Nav has quite a bit to say about him and why he thinks he'll be a good player this year.
All right. Everybody agrees. Consensus RB1 potential.
Free, do you think he has an RB1 potential?
I certainly see him falling, dipping, but can't argue it's 4v1 right now. I'm not trying to get absolutely roasted. So
I mean, actually, I feel like he fits more into the RB2 because, if we're talking RB1s, right, top 10 RBs, I mean, I feel like
No,
as
it's RB1 potential.
no, I know, but RB1 potential is so RB1 potential, but I feel like
It's
he's
lower
more of a Yeah, I feel like he's a solid RB2. Like that's where he's right around where he's being drafted at. Yeah, I would put him solid RB2.
I'll put him in RB2 too, just because like only towards the latter end of the last season he showed up. He showed like he sparked,
That's because
but we really got to see. We got to see something
we
special.
didn't give him the job, and he was a rookie, and now he's not a rookie.
So we'll see how he does.
He's gonna get
Sophomore
see
year.
how
He does.
Everyone,
just-
Arjun, you say RB1, and Don, you say RB1.
Yeah, RB1.
You know, I'm completely on board with what you guys are saying. I think he'd definitely be at the end of the RB1 potential tier, right at the top of the RB2 tier. I think he'll definitely be at worst a solid RB2 for your team this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see him busting.
Ooh, now we got Don with Joe Mixon.
All right, Joe Mixon straight into RB1 potential. I think he's between Eckler and Akers. Gio Bernard's gone. The offensive line is still bad, but I think this is his year.
If we're doing an order, just something I want to say, Antonio Gibson should be at the top. That's all I've got to say.
I
Yeah,
agree.
no, we're not. We don't need to necessarily go in order, but yeah, I think we'd all agree with that.
Yeah.
Putting Eckler in front of AJ.
Yeah, Eckler.
So
All right, and Han gets the pleasure of doing Josh Jacobs.
this guy, so he's already just not talented. The Raiders decimate their O line.
Okay, hold on. He's talented. Don't say he's not
Talented at what? At what?
He was
Hold
a
on,
first round pick.
let's just continue.
First round
No,
pick.
So last year-
Let-
Last year, yeah. The guy has a nice line, right? Raiders spent all their money on the O-line, 273 carries, still is sub 4 yards per carry. Now you take all that line away, what's gonna happen? And then you sign Kenyon Drake. He's gonna take his goal line carries. Already can't catch the ball. Raiders also lose their top top receiver from last year, Nelson Aguilar. So Raiders are just not a good look for this year. So I would put Chua strongly at the bench RB.
Okay.
I'd put him as a flex.
I put him as a
Flex.
flex too.
I don't know. Yeah, flex.
I'd say
Flex is where I'd put him.
I could definitely see him being a bench running back though. He's not.
Yeah.
He's
No,
Josh-
yeah,
give it a
but
couple
where we
weeks
are
after
right
Kenyon. After Kenyon's in, give it a couple weeks, and he's definitely going to be down there.
He's
Yeah,
not
but just
gonna
where
get the
we are right
valuable
now,
touches.
you can't put him below. You can't put him below flex. Just at this point in the offseason.
He's not getting the
And-
valuable touches, and he's getting like the okay touches, but he's not even good at that. So it's flex.
We'll see.
Yeah. And another thing, right? Like Raiders drafted him early. I mean, if you're gonna if you think he's good, right? And you drafted him for like first round, I think. Then why are you signing Kenyon Drake?
Exactly.
They want to run the ball, bro.
Very
Pound
true.
the rock.
But if they want to run the ball, why you lose your whole O line? Like, just
They don't know
doesn't
what they're
Knows,
doing,
bro.
bro.
They
They
tanking or
don't
something?
know.
they're not smart over there in
Yeah,
Vegas.
I don't know what's going on in Las Vegas, bro.
Yeah.
And now we have Kenyon Drake to John.
Drake, I think I'd put him in the bench RB tier, but definitely at the top of the bench RB tier. I think or he could be at the bottom of the flex tier, but yeah, I'd keep him as bench RB for now. We know Drake, he can be a good receiver. Last year in Arizona, he didn't really do much of that. He was more the early down, pound it back, and then their goal line back. I think this year he'll get a lot more receiving opportunities because Josh Jacobs will get a lot of early down work. But yeah, just because of that, and now because of this new situation, I'd definitely keep him as a bench running back.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. All right, I'm going to move on here to Leonard Fournette. I don't really know how to feel about Leonard Fournette. He seems to be a big part of that offense at times. Then you got Ronald Jones there too. So I'd put him at bench running back and matchup-based flex. Like, Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a good matchup. Then I'd put him at flex. But right now, I keep him towards the middle of bench running back.
And just something else I want to add. If Ronald Jones was ever to go down, I think he'd move up to the RB2.
Yeah, RB2,
Yeah.
maybe even
Yeah.
RB1.
I agree.
Not RB1, but
Yeah,
he'd be a
RB2.
rock solid RB2.
RB2.
Mhm.
Now we have Nav with Le'Veon Bell.
No, just put him in irrelevant. Even if he signs with the team, he's gonna be irrelevant. He signed with the Chiefs last year, and he was still not. He was droppable in fantasy. Just put him in irrelevant. Nothing else to say about it.
I mean, do we put this guy with, I feel like he's becoming Todd Gurley type bad because, he sits out a season.
Todd Gurley is reserved for one man only.
Oh,
One
Yeah.
man belongs-
Le'Veon's pushing it though. Le'Veon's pushing his own category too. This guy's a disgrace. He's
Nah,
pushing his own category.
Maybe, but he doesn't have arthritis, so here we go.
All right, so irrelevant. Don, do you have anything to add to that, or?
I was a fan of Le'Veon last year, but I mean, this guy is just because he has like the Antonio Brown effect. I mean, he's just shitting on like Andy Reid, one of the best coaches in the league. This guy, he's not good. He's talking down on coaches. I don't know what is good with him. He could be there could be a tier under Todd Gurley just for him.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, now Dante with Marlon Mack.
Marlon Mack, I think bench RB for him. I think the talent's there. The Achilles injury is concerning, but Frank Reich came out and said that it's not going to be the Jonathan Taylor show. So I think he can definitely be rosterable.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. Han with
good
Melvin
handcuff to
Gordon.
Taylor.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Han, go ahead.
Yeah, so with Melvin, he's just like Le'Veon almost. He sits out or not the whole year, but he sat out, gets a new contract, goes to a new team, doesn't play well, and now what do? They draft a new running back in the second round. So I think it's on the outs for him. I'd put him. He's going to be drafted as a bench RB, but I think he'll end up falling to irrelevant.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think he'll fall to irrelevant personally. I think he'll be just there as a bench running back. And this year, he's going to get the valuable touches in that Broncos offense. He could be a matchup dependent flex. He's going to get the goal line work, the receiving work. They brought in Javonte. He's going to be like between the 20s type, but we'll see.
Yep.
All right, John with Miles Sanders now.
Miles Sanders, I think he falls squarely into that RB2 range. With Sanders, you've got a guy who I think this year he's going to have pretty high floor, but also a very low ceiling. I don't think he's going to make a lot of explosive plays, especially now Hurts taking over as the full-time starting quarterback for this season. He's going to steal a lot of maybe goal line work. And Hurts also one of the few quarterbacks who could push for 1,000 yards rushing this year. So Sanders, I think he's definitely going to be a good a solid RB2 for your team, but I don't think he's got upside for much more than that.
I agree with like your placement and stuff. The only thing I disagree with is you say he doesn't have big play potential. His entire his game is predicated on big play potential.
No, sorry. If I said big play potential, I shouldn't have said that. I just meant the upside to give you huge weeks that could make him like an RB1. Just he's definitely got big play potential.
He could
lacks
do that
consistency.
with his big plays.
He lacks consistency though.
Yeah,
he's not consistent.
Not
he
whatsoever.
does.
No, he has big play. I think he had 3 of the longest runs.
I know
that.
I know one of his biggest things last year was he had multiple 60, 70 yard runs. But he's definitely got a big play potential. But I just don't think he's gonna be too inconsistent, as Shree was saying, to ever be an RB1 for your team this year.
Now we have I think I'm up with Najee Harris here. Najee Harris is going to the end of the end of the first round, maybe early second round, depending on how many teams you have in your league. Haven't really seen much for him, and the Steelers' O-line isn't looking too good right now. So I put him at a solid RB2. He can boom depending on I remember how the Steelers used James Conner at the beginning of last season. James Conner was playing pretty well last season. He was getting good goal line carries and everything. But as of right now, you can't really put him in the RB1.
Yeah, and I agree with that Oh, go ahead, Naf.
No. I was just saying Najee and Joe Mixon to me are basically very similar. So I'd honestly put him in RB1 potential if we're putting Joe Mixon there because he's gonna get all the work there. Benny Snell, he might get cut, honestly. And there's also reports coming out that he might get cut. So, I think Najee Harris, if you're gonna put him in RB2, he has to be at the very top. But I could also see him going at RB1.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with Najee, the Steelers, they clearly weren't happy with Connor. They let him go this year. And I feel like they just want a running back to just take some touches. Even if their line isn't good, I feel like he's just going to be force-fed the ball. And I feel like that'll I like the RB2 placement right now, but I definitely think he has room to become into the next category as well.
All right, now look at the coincidence. Now we have Nob with Nick Chubb. If you watch Imagi Fantasy, you know how obsessed this guy is with Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb. Yeah, he's a star RB1. He is high floor, high ceiling. The Kareem Hunt is there. Yeah, do it. Kareem Hunt is there, but they are a run-heavy team. They have the best run blocking offensive line in the league. Kevin Stefanski, he came there last year. He made the Browns a playoff team by focusing on the run. When Nick Chubb got hurt last year, Kareem Hunt and the Browns, they weren't that good. Kareem Hunt wasn't very consistent then. Nick Chubb is the model of consistency, and he is just probably a top 2 or 3 top runners in the league, just pure runners. I love Nick Chubb. If he's your RB1, you can set it and forget it. You don't need to worry about it.
I'd have to disagree. I mean, if you
You're
look at the
wrong.
others, if
Really?
you look at
You're
the
wrong.
other star RBs, right? CMC, Dalvin, Kamara, they all have the receiving. And Derrick Henry doesn't have the receiving upside, but he rushes for 2K yards. Nick Chubb doesn't have the receiving, and he could never rush for 2K yards.
Okay,
So I
no,
put him
last
very
in
year,
front of
last, no,
He
last
has the
could
year,
receiving
never-
too.
first
No,
of
no.
all, I
There's
have
one
to
man in Cleveland that has all the receiving down, man.
No,
He's
no.
coming
If
up
you
next.
watch at the end of the year last year, as the year progressed, you could, as soon as Nick came back from his injury, you could see how they kept on getting him more involved in the receiving game. And it like peaked last year in the Steelers playoff. He had 4 receptions, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Like if you ever get a game like that from Nick Chubb, add that onto his typical 100 yards rushing, that is an elite fantasy game. And there's nothing you can say that's wrong with Nick, and nothing you can say is negative about it. Like you put him in your RB1 slot, and then you don't need to worry about it at all. Like that's not an RB1 potential type guy. That's a guy you just keep in, and you don't need to worry about it. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
All right. Yeah. Continuing with the Browns running backs here, we got down with Kareem Hunt.
You did this on purpose. You moved
All right.
him. He
Maybe
was
I
on
did.
the
Alright.
bottom, bro. He was
Alright.
on the bottom.
I'm not gonna let bias affect me like the others have here. I'm gonna put him in that.
Bro, it's not
flex.
bias if everyone agreed except you.
He's
Let him talk.
he's definitely a flex option this year. But really, I think he can't move from here. I think he's just gonna be a flex this year. I don't see him being an RB2 or a bench running back. But
I applaud you
Yeah,
for
I
that,
agree.
though.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
that's some.
It's also
Solid.
realistic. It's realistic.
I thought you were gonna put him in the RB2 tier,
Me
to be
too.
honest with
And
you.
I was
No.
ready.
Yeah,
This is
that's
good.
same.
for that.
I was ready for that as well. All right, now we have Han with Philip Lindsay of the Houston Texans.
I feel like with the new Texans trio of RBs with David J, Mark Ingram, and now Philip Lindsay, like, I mean, Philip, he'd be the second to David J. David J is the clear number 1 there. So Philip would be number 2. Ingram's number 3. He's not going to touch it. So I would say Philip, just being the second back in an already bad offense, I feel like he's just a bench RB for this year.
Just one thing I have to say: David J. by no means is the clear number 1 in that offense. I
No,
mean,
he
Philip
is.
Lindsay-
He is. No,
Philip Lindsay's a
David
very
Johnson.
talented player.
No.
I mean, David Johnson's old, wasn't very effective at times last year. He probably will open the year as a number 1. Maybe not. Honestly, we'll see how training camp and the preseason play out. But he's by no means the cleared number 1. Lindsay could
David's-
easily take over that role.
I completely disagree.
I don't
I don't
think
know
so. I
how
think David,
you have a love for David Johnson. Hopefully, you get to cover him later on.
Great player.
If we're looking at the stats, though, his last 3 games last year, they were all above 20 PPR points. So that was good. However, Deshaun Watson was there at that time. David Johnson, he was about to be cut. He was going to be cut this year. But they restructured his contract instead. Maybe he's there. But, this is about Philip Lindsay.
I mean, they kept him for a reason. Right?
Good for them. They have all the old running backs, bro. They have Mark Ingram, David Johnson, Philip Lindsay.
Nick
Rex
Casario's on.
Burkhead.
They signed Rex Burkhead. They
Yeah.
go to
Oh,
the
yeah.
Rex
I
Burkhead.
know. Yeah, Nick Casario is trying to play some games. We'll
He's
see.
trying to go 0-16, bro. 0-16.
Huh?
0-17. 0-17.
New record. Trying to be the first.
All right, we got John with Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, I think Mostert, honestly, is a very tough player to categorize just because he was great last year when he was healthy. But number 1, he's got a lot of injury concerns. And number 2, the Niners drafted Trey Sermon. So I think just because of that, Mostert's going to be a bench running back this year. Sermon is a very talented player, too. There's reports coming out that he could take a lot of receiving work, a lot more touches than people expect next year. So I think Mostert, maybe he'll have a few weeks where he could be played as a flex, but I think just for the most part, he's going to be too hard to trust as anything more than a bench running back.
He's going to be really inconsistent.
Yep.
if he's even on the field.
How would he
Yep,
not
that
be on
too.
the field?
Injuries.
Because he gets injured
Oh, yeah.
every other
yeah.
game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right, now I have Ronald Jones here. Again, I
go.
feel like this is hard to categorize. He could. He's not an RB2. He could be the high end flex, maybe, But that offense is just so high powered. There's so many options. It's just hard to tell really. I'd put him bottom end flex, or I'll put him bottom end of the flex.
I agree.
I'd say we'd have to put him as bench running back, especially if you got Fournette as a bench running back, because Fournette, I think he's going to be the lead back next year. And, I think he could be the lead back by a good margin too, like taking many more snaps than we expect. So I'd put him as bench running back, but except, if you guys disagree, we can leave him as flex.
I mean, we really can't compare. I mean, we can compare them, but we can't predict what the outcome, because I feel like the committee was like so unpredictable last year. But maybe, we'll have to see a couple games to see how it goes this year.
No, I'm going a lot more off the playoffs. Fournette had a great playoff run last year. Buccaneers, of course, winning the Super Bowl. So that's why, just based off that, I would expect him to open the year as running back one. And Rojo to be the RB2, which would make me have to have him as a bench running back. But like you said, could be unpredictable.
I think it really depends on who's like the receiving back in that offense.
Yeah.
The receiving back is going to get most of the PPR points, and they're going to be ahead, obviously. We have Nav.
Yeah, we know Brady loves his running backs.
Yeah, he does. Now we have Nav here with Saquon Barkley.
He's a star RB1, like for sure. He's probably he's the most talented running back, and he's at the end. He's the most talented running back in football, but he's coming off a huge injury. I could see him at the beginning of the year dipping below, and right now, even he's not confirmed if he'll be ready for week 1. That injury is something that really concerns me. I don't think I'll be drafting him anywhere just because of that injury. But you have to put him in star RB1 just because of who he is, what a talent he possesses, and what he did in his rookie year. Like, if you get a repeat performance with that, you're going to be so happy.
Yep.
All right, Dom with Sony Michel.
There's not much discussion. I think he's an irrelevant. I think he might. He's just bad. He's not going anywhere from irrelevant. If we make a tier for Le'Veon, I think there shouldn't even be a tier for Sony Michel. I mean, this guy's just a disappointment. He hasn't been anything in like the last 2-3 years. He's horrible. He should be cut. But if he's on a roster, he's irrelevant. He should be on your waiver wire the whole year.
Yeah, he's Mr. 15 carries, 15 yards. That's what he did.
Win us a chip, I will say that. Appreciate you, Sony. Never
good playoff run. Good playoff run.
Yeah.
All right, Han with Tariq Cohen.
This guy's another one of my enemies. Don't like him. Just taken away from Demont. It ain't the right thing. Prayers up to him. He got hurt last year. Hopefully he comes back well. But yeah, I think he's strongly in the bench category, because he's just someone you hold on to if, say, an injury happens. But yeah,
agree with that. John here with Jonathan Taylor.
See, I really do want to call him a star RB1, because I know he's extremely talented, and we saw what he did at the end of last year. But just now with the return of Marlon Mack, and a report came out, a Colts reporter expects Taylor to only receive 60% of the snaps next year, and Frank Reich saying that he's going to continue to ride the hot hand next year. I think Taylor, he's going to be in the RB1 potential category, but he'd have to be right at the top of that category with Gibson. He's extremely talented. We saw what he did at the end of last year. So, yeah, behind Gibson. But, just because of the looming threats of Nyheim Hines and Marlon Mack taking away some snaps, I'd leave him in the RB1 potential category for now, but definitely could be a star RB1 by the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree. I had him last year at the end of the year, and he was just unbelievable, especially in that Week 17 performance. 253 yards rushing? Like, that's something not a lot of running backs can do. And the fact
Now, quick question. Did you win a championship last year? Just wondering.
Oh yeah, how'd that go for you, bro? I heard you was doing well, but then things went downhill. Scammer gets scammed.
Oh yeah, Christian decided he decided not to return. Will Fuller decided to inject heroin into his veins. Here we are. I lost, and I couldn't move. And also, I still would have won regardless. We're not getting into it. We're not getting into it.
Bro. All right, I personally don't like Jonathan Taylor because again, his Carson Wentz is his quarterback.
Is it J.K. Dobbins, bro?
Okay, well, we're not talking about J.K. Dobbins right now. We're talking about Jonathan Taylor, all right? Jonathan Taylor, his quarterback is Carson Wentz, and I can't remember the last running back that did well under Carson Wentz. So we'll keep him there, but if he does bad,
I think that's more of something to say about the Eagles running backs, though. They never had someone like Jay.
They always were really running committees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've always had a committee.
All right, now is it my turn? Oh, Travis
Yeah.
Etienne. Yeah, this guy doesn't have the keys to the offense just yet, but there's a lot of reports coming out, like a lot of training staff and coaches are excited about him. I think this is one of the worst. This is one of the like, I did not like this draft pick by the Jaguars. You have so many holes on that team. You decided to pick a running back when you already have James Robinson being a breakout star last season. So I'm gonna have to put him at bench running back for now. A couple weeks in, maybe he could take over the starting role and be good. But for now, he's a bench running back.
Yeah, I think by the end of the year, ETN, I would be surprised, honestly, if he's not RB2 by the end of the year, just because you don't draft a first-round running back or a running back in the first round and not use him. And ETN, we saw what he did at Clemson, extremely talented player. So, yeah, I'd expect him to be probably an RB2 by the end of the season.
I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't an RB2 because, this Urban Meyer, I don't know what he's trying to do here. He's made so many, questionable decisions. He wants to trade.
Yeah.
He wants to get rid of DJ Chark. What? No, he's pretty talented.
Thinks he's coaching college.
Drafted a running back in the first round, even though they have James Robinson.
Yeah, it
What
makes no
is
sense.
that?
Tim Tebow as a tight end. I mean, this guy's out
They
of
bring
his
up Tim Tebow. Why? There's a lot
This
of
is
stuff
like
that's going
Las
on.
Vegas level stuff going
You,
on.
No,
you
yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't trust. You can't trust the Jaguars right now. That's
Yep.
But
right.
something I have to say though, you have to put Travis Etienne as a flex. I don't see how he is a bench running back.
Yeah,
I
I
don't-
don't flex as well.
I don't think you can start him at the beginning of the year, though. I
Yeah,
think
you're
you
not gonna
have to
start
put
I
him on
think
the
you
bench.
can. I think you
I don't
can.
think so.
I think
No,
you
I
I
don't
think you
think
can.
it's-
Personally, I would not start him. I don't know how that backfield's gonna work. I would just
You're
keep him on my
drafting him
bench.
I'll put
in
him
what
at the
the
top.
40s.
It makes
You're
you
drafting
happier,
him.
but
I mean, I feel like that's
guaranteed-
way too high for him, though. I
Yeah,
feel like
you're-
he's a
If you're
70s player.
drafting him in the 40s and starting him week 1, then you shouldn't even be
Yeah.
What do
playing
you
fantasy
mean?
football.
What does that even mean?
Stop playing.
That's right.
Someone drafted
There's
here?
no way you can justify drafting Travis Etienne in the 40s. He's
Oh,
like
yeah,
like
no. I'm
60
just saying,
kind.
if someone
I
is to
agree.
draft him, if someone is to draft Travis Etienne, they're gonna have to pay up for him. And if they pay up for him, they're gonna feel like, oh, I have to start him. But yeah, that's why I think it'll be like a flex. He's getting the valuable touches most likely the Jaguars backfield, but
Mhm.
we'll see.
all right. You can just continue with Zeke. No.
Yeah, Zeke, I don't think he's that star RB1 tier anymore. He's gonna be in RB1 potential. Last year, he was really, it was not a good year for Zeke at all. After Dak went down, he was just basically like an RB2 at best. He didn't have great performances. He had fumbling issues, and with Dak Prescott is coming back this year, but that's going to be a pass first offense. They have Dak, they have CeeDee Lamb, Amari, and they have Michael Gallup. They have so many passing weapons. Zeke, he's going to be an RB1 potential for me, and I don't think there's really any way you could put him in the star RB1.
See, I see what you're saying, but I gotta disagree with you. You said Zeke is definitely like last year was a big mental thing for him. I feel like after Dak went down, ever since he
mental.
started, he was just a fumble machine, and he wasn't in the right headspace to play a game. He wasn't in the right headspace to break out or play a good game. The mental health, come on.
Saying-
All right.
No.
Go brush past that. You're telling me he's not a good receiver. He's not putting in work.
He's a fine receiving back.
I'm telling you, no. I'm telling you, even like I was watching Cowboys game. John had Zeke. I was playing against him that week. I was like, oh, it's the end of the game. It's over. The game's Zeke's not going to get too many points. He's not going to be rushing the ball or anything. Every single play, every time it was like second down or third down, Zeke would just run a 5-yard go route, catch the ball, and go forward for 10 more yards. And
I believe this is week 3
end
against
game.
the
Is there
Seahawks.
Andy Dalton starting as a
No,
quarterback?
he's
Andy
definitely
Dalton
in.
starting.
He's week 4.
He's definitely star RB.
I gotta say he's a star. Lower
I
end of the star
disagree.
RB1, but I agree he's a star.
I feel like
No.
he's again like one of those people you just start and you just feel
Exactly.
like, I mean, with everything falling in place, like if your QB's healthy, I feel like he's just he'll be fine.
Yeah,
After last year, how can you feel?
No, he
but
was
his
great with
QB
Dak
wasn't
on the
in place.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
Dak,
he was
he needs
great
Dak.
with-
With Dak, he was great. Yeah,
If Dak
Hmm.
gets injured, sure, he's an RB2. But with Dak on the
Yeah.
field, I don't see him under a star.
And
I
you got to
don't know. I
realize,
just-
we got to remember too, the entire O-line, most of the O-line last year was hurt. They're getting all those guys back now. For this year, Zach Martin, Lyle Collins, all those guys are gonna be back this
Zeke's
year.
also
So
aging though. I'm just saying, if it was
Aging?
me pick, yeah,
It's
he's
O-line,
one of
bro.
the
Harden's
oldest
pretty
running backs in the league. Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
so you-
No, I'm
Let's
just
move on.
saying-
Let's move on. Let's move
No,
on.
no, no.
Yeah.
Just last thing.
All
I'm
right.
just saying, if I was like in a spot like the 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, that type of range, I don't feel like I'd take Zeke there. I'd feel like I'd take like someone like maybe like a Travis Kelce, Jonathan Taylor, someone like that. But I just don't think Zeke will end up on any of my teams because of how high he's going in drafts, and I just don't think he's there as a star RB1 anymore. That's just my opinion.
All right.
Yeah.
To avoid further argument, let's just move on. So we got Don with Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Oh, this one's tough. I put him at the back end of actually no, I put him at the top of RB. RB1 potential. I really don't think he has the potential to be an RB1, but I think he'll be a high end RB2, really solid RB2.
I agree with that.
Let
I
me
like
let me
that.
get this straight. No. Clyde is below J.K. Dobbins in your opinion?
Yes.
That's
He's
very
like
true.
that
Very
far.
true.
He's that far below J.K. Dobbins.
No, he's not. I think J.K. Dobbins could potentially be an RB1, but I think they can both be RB2s. Just
You don't think
Clyde
Clyde
cannot-
has the
I feel like
potential
no.
to be an
JK has a
RB1?
higher ceiling. JK has a higher ceiling,
No, I
but they're
think
both at the
Clyde
same
easily
floor
has
right
a
now.
higher ceiling.
No, I think
Clyde-
JK
No,
does.
because JK's in a more run-heavy offense, and if
Yeah.
if they go towards him, because Clyde, there's
They're-
so many options on that
They're
team.
gonna-
they're not going to
They're
go
gonna-
away
no,
from
there's not.
Patrick
There's
Mahomes.
Travis, there's Tyreek, and then there's Clyde.
They're
Who
not
else?
going
No.
to go away from Patrick
Who?
Mahomes
Who
to
else,
run the
Rohan?
ball more.
Dude,
Who else?
okay, the Chiefs, they can't help themselves. They gotta throw it. They need it.
Yeah,
they can't.
exactly.
They get bored. They get bored running the
Yeah.
ball. Nah, this is boring. Let's not launch it 50 yards to Tyreek Hill. That's what they need to do.
That's
what
how they
want
lost
to do.
against the Raiders. That's how they lost against the Raiders. They started running the
They-
ball. They had a
Yup.
big lead. They started running the ball, and the Raiders came back, and they kept
That's
running the
not
ball. 'cause they
what
wanted
It's
to
just
win.
not. Yeah, they're
That's not
so
what
much
happened.
better when they're passing. They're at their best when they're passing. I
Yeah,
don't feel like they're
because
gonna force
they
the
have
run.
Patrick Mahomes, but he's also
They're
going to
not-
be a receiving threat. He's going to be a receiving
They're
threat.
not
at the
going to
back.
So,
go
what-
away.
what
They're
do you
not
say
going to
now?
give
What do you
Patrick
say?
less attempts. Just
Yeah,
to
I
run the
think he's
ball.
going to break out this year.
I think
he's
Clyde will
gonna-
do. Go
I
ahead.
think he's
Naz.
going to break out this year.
Yeah, I think Clyde will do well, but I don't see him having a huge ceiling. I think he'll just be a consistent guy or solid RB2 in my opinion. But
You can't have him behind J.K. Dobbins. Though. Like that doesn't.
I do.
1A,
I do.
1A,
No,
1B,
JK
who?
They're both high RB2s, but if I had to pick one to have RB1 potential, I'd pick JK.
Me too.
I don't know.
It's close though. It's really close.
Who would you
I
have?
don't think JK is up to this
Arjun,
level.
who would you have?
I would rather have Clyde personally, just because JK. I don't see JK. I think he could be a very talented receiving back, but with Lamar there, we know he doesn't really tend to throw to the running backs very often. Instead, he prefers to just take off and run or launch it downfield. But just because of that, and because of the fact that Lamar and Gus Edwards could be stealing a lot of JK's goal line opportunities, I would rather have Clyde. But I think they're both right. I think they're both neck and neck. Like they're both
Yeah,
right.
like
that same
1A,
tier running
1B.
backs.
Like 1A,
Yeah.
1B.
Yep.
So you want to put him JK at RB1, or you want to move
Even
Clyde
both.
down
I
to
think they
RB2?
could both be an RB1 potential.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on now. Now we have Han with David Johnson.
So, last year, DJ coming into a new offense, I feel like, some may have called him a flex, but, I feel like overall, he was an RB2. I feel like maybe you couldn't trust him, but you could put him as your RB2. I feel like this year, non-biased with DJ. They brought in a bunch of running backs, like their new coach, nobody knows what's going on with Deshaun Watson. To be honest, he's probably a bench RB. But, I feel like he could have room for better, but yeah, probably a bench RB right now.
I agree with that. You can't really put them any higher than that, especially like with how bad the Texans are going to be. They're not going to have like the opportunity to run the football. They have a terrible defense, terrible offense. We don't know what's going on with Deshaun. Their offensive line is not all that good. They don't have. There's nothing really there on the Houston Texans.
One thing I do expect, though, I feel like DJ is just he's so talented. I feel like he's gonna demand the touches. Like he's gonna get the ball. He's too good.
Doesn't have a
He's just
knee.
too good. He's too good. That knee is healed. He played the last season healthy. I think he had a concussion, but he played last season primarily healthy.
Let's just say
He
he'll
was
move
on
higher
IR. How
than
are you
flex.
saying he's healthy?
Messed in the knee.
But
messed
didn't he
in
have
the
a
head.
concussion? He had a concussion, right?
And he went on IR with a concussion.
But he missed like a couple games. Yeah, I mean, you can control concussions. I mean, he's not like a concussion-prone player. I mean, it's just gonna happen in your year for a football player. Some people, but he's too talented not to get the ball. So I feel like he could easily catapult into the flex category. But
No higher than that.
no, he could end the season as your RB2.
No,
He could end the
He
season
can't
as
be
your
an
RB2.
RB2.
Guys,
he
hold-
has the
hold-
In what
talent.
world?
Fantasy
He has
owners
the
need to hold on to this guy. He
They
has
don't have
the,
Deshaun anymore. They don't have
but
Deshaun.
they have DJ. Problem solved.
All right,
Dude,
move on.
You're delusional.
Come on, come
You're
on.
delusional.
All right, John with D Swift.
Swift, he was the guy I covered in our bus video. I think he's going to be a running back too this season. I would put him squarely at the bottom of that tier, though. Swift, he's just in that new Lions offense now. I know they improved the offensive line, but they brought in Jamal Williams and now Anthony Lynn as their new OC. I think this is going to be a lot closer to a 50-50 split between Swift and Williams than a lot of people think. And because of that, and because of the fact that Williams is a lot bigger of back than Swift, could take a lot of goal line carries. Williams, as we saw in Green Bay, he was a great blocker, a great pass catcher, taking a lot of work from Aaron Jones. I think that Swift, just because that this is not a knock on Swift's talent. I think he's an extremely talented player, but just because of his situation, I don't see him being anything more than an RB2 next season.
I agree with that. I don't really see him jumping into the RB1 potential. Just right now, he has great talent. He's super talented. He's getting a lot of receiving work, but that offense is just not going to be that. You're Goff at the helm, and they don't have any wide receivers.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Maybe
so
in
I'm
a
going to be
couple
moving
years.
on. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
No, you can go.
All right, so I just wanted to move on to Damian Harris here. I really like him this season. But he's another running back in the Patriots running back carousel, and I think he could be a flex. I think he could be a flex, definitely with his receiving work, and he's a breakout star last season. I like this guy.
I agree.
Yeah,
I would
I
put him
agree.
in flex too.
There's no receiving
Yeah.
work. That's wrong.
No,
but,
yeah, the receiving
there's-
work, I think. Go ahead.
But
No.
there's a run heavy team. It's a run heavy team. He's going to be the lead running back on that team. If Cam Newton is there, his touchdown opportunities might be limited. But if Mac Jones ever enters, he's going to he might score double-digit touchdowns if Mac Jones is a starter.
Mhm.
Yep. I think
Yeah.
he's a solid flex.
Yeah, and the receiving work, that's probably going to be pretty non-existent for Harris. But I mean, I believe it was Mike Reese who came out with a report a few weeks ago saying that Harris right now is very clearly the Patriots running back one. So yeah, I mean, definitely as a flex, and like you guys are saying, Cam Newton, Mac Jones, he's going to be getting a lot of touches. So yeah, definitely flex.
Right, and do we need to discuss for this next one or?
Nope.
Arthritis.
Just leave him. Just leave him be. Let him rot in his own.
Mr. Arthritis. Him and Dot have some in common.
Okay.
Bro, you don't have a need to begin with.
I don't have arthritis.
No, you don't have a need to begin with. Though.
Knee's almost regenerated. It's almost coming back.
No,
Yeah.
you don't have one though.
For the
Coming
viewers
back,
who are
coming back.
confused, Han, he had knee injury recently, and Don has been diagnosed with chronic arthritis. It's a joke. It's a joke. All right, and thank you everybody for tuning in or viewing. At least, hopefully, you got to this point. If you got to this point, please comment who you agree with most in this list, and be on the lookout for more videos and check out our previous videos for some great content. Thank you, everybody, and see you later.